Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Charlie from Charlie's Cruise Tips and Reviews, and today I will be reviewing my most recent cruise on the Carnival Horizon. It was an 8-day itinerary out of the port of Miami. It was an 8-day cruise. We had 4 sea days and 3 port days, and our cruise sailed from Miami to Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Today I'm going to go do a little bit of overview of the ship, the ports of call, the staff on board, and the overall cruise experience itself. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the ship itself, the Carnival Horizon, which is the second of the Vista class ships. If you've been on either the Panorama or the Vista, then you know the general layout of this ship. It's the same layout with pretty much everything is in the same place with the exception of on this ship there is no Red Frog rum tavern on board the ship. They still have the EA sports bar, but like the Vista, which has the sports bar and the Red Frog Tavern, they don't have the Red Frog Tavern. They just have the Red Frog pub up by on the Lido deck by the main pool, by the Tides pool, as well as the Blue Iguana tequila bar. They have that one as well. But other than that, they don't have the Red Frog Tavern on the ship like they do on the Vista and like on the Panorama, where they have the Heroes and Tributes bar. This instead of that, they have the EA Sports bar on this ship. So just a couple of different things on the ship compared to the Panorama and the Vista, but almost everything else is completely the same. It has the same layout, with the exception also, just like the Panorama, this ship does not have a casino bar like they do in the Vista. However, DA Sports Bar is literally right next to the casino, so I guess it sort of doubles as a sports bar and a casino bar, with it not being in the actual casino. But there is a bar right next to the casino, which is DA Sports Bar. Okay, so the ship was very clean, but to be honest, that's not a surprise for Carnival. Their ships are almost always immaculately clean, and if there is a spill or something that needs to be cleaned up, it's usually taken care of right away. So even if there was something that needed to be cleaned up, it's usually taken care of right away. So the ship was immaculately clean, and you always saw someone cleaning somewhere on board, whether it would be in a restaurant or one of the main areas, in the stair areas, in the stairwells, wherever there was, wherever you went, you would see someone cleaning. So Carnival does a really great job of keeping their ships clean, especially this particular ship, the staff on board. It was immaculately clean. I don't think I saw a single spill or anything on board that wasn't taken care of immediately. So hats off to the staff. They did a wonderful job on board the ship of keeping it clean. Okay, so also all the bars on board the ship. Now, this is the one thing I was surprised about because sometimes you're waiting a while for a drink. Every bar on the ship, uh, they were the staff they had the perfect amount of staff. You never waited more than 5 minutes for a drink, except for maybe when they only had one bartender working because it was the only bar open. Because say you got back from a port or something, but when you were at the sea days when all the bars were open or at night, you never waited more than 5 minutes for a drink, if that long, to be honest. So the staffing on bars, for once, I was on a ship where the bars were not understaffed and the bars were completely well stocked. You never had asked for something where they ran out of it or they had to get it from another bar because that particular bar did not have it. That was not that did not happen once on this cruise. They had anything I ordered, they had. I never waited more than 5 minutes for a drink to order. So the bar staff did a wonderful job on the ship, which they do a great job on Carnival ships, but this time they were even better than normal. So I gotta say, the bar staff was on it this trip. They really were on it on this cruise, and I gotta say hats off to them because they did their job better than I expected. So I can't really say anything more about that. The Lido deck pools, they were relaxing. Spent a little bit of time in the aft pool, not the main pool, but the aft pool in the back of the ship. And the Carnival staff does a really good job of keeping, where they do have the pool attendant, keeping the kids from going wild. I'm not going to say don't let the kids be kids. They let the kids be kids, but they also stop them from jumping in the pool or roughhousing or uh, going rough or splashing in the hot tub. Like basically, they made sure the kids behaved themselves. Which some on other cruise lines, I'm not going to mention which ones, that in the adults only area they seem to let the parents bring their kids in there without saying anything. But on Carnival, that doesn't happen. If it's an adults only area, there are no kids. And that's what I'm going to say about Serenity. The Serenity deck was still 21 and over. It was very relaxing. There was no one there who didn't belong there. And it was just a great overall experience on the ship. But this is a really good ship, and I would recommend this ship to anyone else, especially on a Caribbean itinerary. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about the ports of call. Our first port of call on this cruise was Aruba. It is the ABC Islands, I guess, and we actually did it in order: ABC, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Um, I have done excursions to Aruba before. This time I did not do an excursion. I kind of, when we booked the cruise a couple of years ago and saw the cruise went to Aruba, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the same week my parents go to Aruba every year, and it happened to be we are in Aruba at the same time. So we spent the day with my parents, me and my friend who I went with, at their hotel, at their resort in Aruba. So unlike other times in Aruba where we do a beach excursion or we do a catamaran, snorkeling, this, that, whatever, we did not do an excursion or just walk around downtown Oristad. We spent the day at my parents' resort at the pool. My dad got us a spot, reserved us a spot on the beach, so we had a nice relaxing day on the beach. We used the whole resort pool, hot tub. It was just a great overall experience. If I can find out the name of the resort, I'll tell everyone about it later, because I would definitely, if you just want to go to Aruba and spend a few days in Aruba, I would definitely recommend this resort. They had a nice beach bar, they had a good menu. So if I can find out the name of this resort, actually, I should probably just ask my parents about it. To be honest, I would definitely recommend this resort, but it was just an overall relaxing day. So it was basically, my friend and I got pretty much a free excursion and a free dinner out of it. So I can't say any more about Aruba, except that we had a good time. We had a very good time in Aruba. Okay, so the next port of call we were in was Bonaire. There we did the summer sail, beach, and snorkel excursion. Now, the boat itself, you may have seen this before if you've done excursions in the Caribbean. It was like a pirate ship. It was like a mini pirate ship. So it's not like a catamaran. It was like almost like a sailboat. I don't remember if the sails were open or not, but it really didn't matter. We had some rain showers in the morning of the excursion. So when we were sailing to the beach and snorkel spot, we did get rained on. It's not like a catamaran where they have a place you can go under and get covered. So we did get rained on. It was a bit chilly, but it warmed up later in the day, and like I said, they told us in Bonaire, it rains a little bit at first thing in the morning for like an hour or two, off and on showers, and then it's clear the rest of the day. And that was the case. Once we got to the beach, there was no more rain. It stopped. We had a beautiful couple of hours on the beach. The water in Bonaire was beautiful. It was so clear, so blue. If you ever get a chance to Bonaire, definitely go to Bonaire, take some pictures of the water. You definitely want to go in the water. It was very nice. It was warm. I stuck my feet in. I'm not much of a swimmer in the ocean or the sea, but it was nice, and I would definitely recommend it. After the beach, that's when if you're used to these catamaran sailing snorkels, that's when it's basically the open bar. Now, it wasn't a bar itself on board because of the size of the ship. They just came around with offering drinks, whether it was water, soda, rum punch, fruit punch. I got a couple of rum punches. They were very, very strong. So if you actually ever do this excursion Bonaire, I'm going to say if you get the rum punch, two will probably be enough. If you're daring enough to do more than two, good luck. I'd love to see you afterwards, because I know two were enough for me, and I was pretty much feeling it. I have a friend who did, I think she did three, maybe more than that, so she was feeling it even more than I did. They're like, you're not feeling, like, I only did two, and those were strong. So I would definitely recommend this excursion if you're ever in Bonaire, just if you're on a cruise, or if you just go to Bonaire on your own, just a few days in Bonaire at a resort. I would definitely recommend the summer uh, beach and sail and snorkel excursion. After excursion, we got back on the ship because we were in Bonaire all day. We got in around 8:30 in the morning. We were there till about 10 at night. So we were literally there over 12 hours, almost 13 and a half We got in at 8:30, we left at 10, so we're there almost 13 and a half, 14 hours. So we literally had all day there. So we got back on the boat, back on the ship. We went to lunch. We hit the hot tub for a little bit at Serenity, and then my friend and I decided, you know what? Let's go into town. We still have a few more hours, so we did a little bit of shopping. We walked around. Then it started to rain again, so we went back on the ship. But yeah, we still had a good time in Bonaire. We got a chance to walk around. I got a couple of shot glasses for some friends of mine back home. He got a couple of things he needed, and we got back on the ship. And then we spent the rest of the night on board. That was the night, I believe. Yeah, that was the night of the White Hot Party, I believe. And then we had the White Hot Party that night. Then the next day we were in Curacao. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. Actually, yes, the White Hot or was the White Hot Party after Carousel the next day? I don't remember, but White Hot Party was a lot of fun. I'm not going to go into anything that went on, but it was a lot of fun at White Hot Party. Definitely something they did a very good job with. I kind of wish it was outdoors instead of the virtual atrium, but another that's for another video at another time. So our final port of call was Curacao. In Curacao, we did the highlights of Curacao and Mambo Beach Club excursion. Now, when we were in Curacao, it was mostly a bus tour. So we did see a lot of the sites. We had some great panoramic views. We got a lot of great pictures from the bus. We saw some of the old town, the cemeteries, some of the historical stuff in Wilmstead, and then part of the tour before we went to the beach club was we went to the distillery where they make all the Curacao liquor, the blue Curacao, the tangerine liquor, the chocolate liqueur. We got to do the distillery tour. Like it was a self-led tour. It was a small distillery. It's not like the one in Grand Cayman or other ones you might go to. This was a smaller distillery, but we got to see a little bit of history, and then we got some free liquor tasting samples. We didn't have enough time, as far as I was thought, to buy a drink because I didn't think we'd have enough time to drink, and I didn't want to just down it completely and be gone the rest of the day. But so I didn't get a drink, but I probably should have because my friend bought the drink and then brought it back on the tour bus with us. Actually, no one said boo to that, so I probably should have done that. But oh well, it's over. Anyway, so after that, we went to the Mambu Beach Club. It was beautiful there. The beach was beautiful. The vibe was nice. You had a lot of Europeans there. There were a lot of Europeans there. There were a lot of Americans there. It was just an overall great experience. We had some food on the beach for lunch. We got a couple of buckets of drinks. We just it was a nice chill beach day at a beach club. And anyone who's in Curacao, I would recommend the Mambu Beach Club. It's a private time. I don't know if it's a public or private beach club, but I do know we got a lot of people coming from our ship who weren't on the excursion were there, as well as another ship that was in town in Curacao at the same time. We were a Holland America ship, as well as just other people who were either staying at some of the local hotels in Curacao by the beach club, or some because there was not a hotel at the beach club, but there was a hotel a little further down the strip of sand, and there were some hotels across the street, which I would assume some of the people who came to the beach club were staying at. So, okay, so after the excursion, my friend and I walked around downtown Wilmstead, Carousel for a little bit, about an hour and a half. We went to the floating bridge. We did a little bit of shopping. We walked around the neighborhood a little bit. Then we made our way back on the ship. So I'd say we had about a good hour, an hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour in Wilmstead Carousel, and then we went back on the ship because this time we were not in port all day. We had a normal sail away time at 4:30, so we were back on the ship about 1:30, 2:30 carousel time, so we had plenty of time to get back on board. We hit the pool. We hit, we got, we hit the pool and the hot tubs and just relaxed a little bit. So that's pretty much for the ports of call. It was a wonderful ports of call. I kind of wish we didn't had a fourth ports of call because sometimes when you go to ABC Islands, they throw in San Juan or Grand Turk. This time they didn't. I don't know why, but it was still a great itinerary. So I'm going to talk about the staff on board now, and I can't say enough about how wonderful the staff was on this ship. From our room steward, he was wonderful. He was wonderful. He was a really nice guy. Definitely tipped him a little bit more than we normally do because he was that good. The bartenders, actually, one of them I sailed with before, Ivana. She remembered me, and some of the other bartenders. They were all great. The entire bar staff on Carnival is always wonderful, but this time they really did take a good job of taking care of us. So shout out to the bar staff, the bar ta- uh, all the bar staff, the bartenders and the bar servers. They all did a wonderful job. Shout out to all of them. The restaurant staff, they were wonderful. This we got our food on a timely manner at the main dining room. We weren't the last ones to get served like sometimes we normally are. The showtime at dinner time was wonderful this time. It's always the same things on Carnival, but it's still a lot of fun and you know what to expect. It's always a great time, showtime in the dining room. So I also on board. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Tyler, the cruise director, Tyler Meenan. I've sailed. This is the second time I sailed with him in capacity of cruise director. I sailed with him a couple other times, but believe when he was just crew staff. But I also sailed with him about 2 years ago on the celebration. It's inaugural season when he was the cruise director then, and he remembered me from that cruise on this cruise. And we got a chance to chat a few times, talk a little bit. I mean, he was very busy, but he was definitely all over the ship. I saw a lot more of him than I have seen recently. Some cruise directors, even on the bigger ships, but I saw him a lot on board, and he's still a great guy. Got a chance to talk with him a little bit, and he's still Tyler. He's still a great guy, and I would recommend if you ever have a chance to cruise with them, you're gonna have a great time. The one thing I didn't get to do much was interact with the rest of the cruise director staff. Now, I've kind of noticed this on the larger ships compared to smaller ships. You don't interact with them as much, but you can still see them around. But I didn't see the cruise director staff that much on board the ship unless it was at one of the organized activities, such as the karaoke or it was bingo or one of the trivia or one of those things. I really didn't interact with them that much. A few of my friends did a little bit more, but it is what it is. They still did a great job. I felt it was a great cruise, and I felt they still did a great job. And Taylor had a really good team, even though I didn't get to see much of them on board. The ones I did get a chance to interact with, I had a lot of fun with, and they have a really great cruise team on this staff on this cruise. What am I saying? Not on. They have a really good cruise staff on this cruise. Okay. The last person I want to talk about on this cruise is Kingsley, the piano bar player. He was great. He has a really good voice, and he had a very good selection of songs. I mean, if you requested something, 9 out of 10 times he knew it, and if he didn't know it, he played something similar from the same artist, or he would try to learn the song. So he did a really good job. And big shout out to Kingsley, especially. There was one incident one night where there was just this drunk guy started yelling at him, started yelling at everyone on board, caused a huge scene. He had to end the show early. I literally I was afraid he was going to get in trouble because this was the type of guy who would go to the guest services and complain about any and everything. So I immediately went to the guest services desk to tell them he did nothing wrong. This guy was either drunk or he has anger issues or whatever it was, which turned out to be because he had from what I heard later on, he had issues in other parts of the ship with other staff members and everything. So it wasn't Kingsley like I said it was, but I did go to the guest services desk to defend him to make sure he didn't get in trouble because he did nothing wrong. And he's a really good guy. He's a really nice guy, and he did a great job on board. And if I ever get to sail with him again, I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm gonna make sure I have a little bit more money with me to give him next time. For tips, obviously, for a few more requests. So the overall experience of this cruise was a good one. Now, I'm going to mention a couple of things which were, eh, I'm going to say, which is a bit uncommon for Carnival. It's not in their character, but it did happen on this cruise. It might have something to do with the length of the cruise, it being 8 days and having 4 sea days and only 3 port days, and two of the port days you got into port about 8:39 in the morning, and you were there until 10 o'clock at night. So that had something to do with it, or it could just be a lack of planning on this itinerary. I don't know, but we didn't have as many activities as we normally do, especially at night, because as I said, we had the 2 court days where you didn't leave port till 10 o'clock at night, so they really didn't plan anything that night. So you only had to parties on either the night we were leaving Carousel because we left at 4:30, or on the sea days. Those were really the only nights you had the deck parties or a lot of activities going on. Were on the sea nights, at night during the sea days, or when we left Carousel because we were in Aruba and Bonaire for as long as we were. So that might have something to do with it. Also, I think, well, it may not be the lack of activities. It was also we had so many sea days instead of them all being grouped together like one right after the other, after the other, after the other on other cruises. I think they were also more spread out as well because we had more sea days, so they had more time to spread out instead of scritching them all together and trying to get them all in a shorter amount of time. So that could have been something too, but this was a very chilled cruise. It was a very chill experience. You didn't feel rushed. You didn't feel like you had to be on or off the ship as quickly as you did in other times in ports of call. So this was a much more chiller, a much more enjoyable experience. One thing they didn't do, which surprised me a little bit, is that the Mega Deck Party is the biggest party of the cruise on Carnival. For some reason, on this sailing, we had the Mega Deck Party, but it wasn't listed in the fun time. So we thought that this ship didn't do the Mega Deck Party until Tyler. This was, I believe, it was the yes, it was the second to last day of the cruise because we had two CDs. So we had Carousel. Then the next day was the second to last day of the cruise, and that's the night we had the Mega Deck Party. So we had the party that night, but none of us knew we had that party until he made the announcement because it wasn't in the fun times. It wasn't anywhere listed. I'm not sure if that was an oversight on the staff or they just forgot to print it or what happened, but for some reason that wasn't in the fun times. It made us feel like, what, did they ditch the Mega Deck Party? Like, there's not as many activities on this cruise as it normally is, but they did have the deck party, just they forgot to put it in print. I don't know what happened, but unfortunately it happened. It's over. But other than that, there were no complaints about this cruise. This was a wonderful cruise. And in conclusion, I would definitely go on the ship again. I'm not sure if I would do this particular itinerary again. It was a great itinerary, but everything was a bit more spread out. It was a bit more. I would like, if it's going to be an 8-day cruise, at least have 4 days, port days, and 3 sea days, not three ports of call and 4 CDs. I'd rather have 3 CDs and 4 ports of call. So I would definitely do the ship again, but definitely a different itinerary because I think the itinerary, I like the ship. I would just do a different itinerary. And I'm going to give this cruise 8.5 out of 10. It was a wonderful cruise. I think the reason I'm not giving a full 9 is because, as I said, with the activities itself being seemed to be a lack of activities, as well as the disembarkment. I'm not going to talk about, but that kind of disembarkment could have been a lot better. It was, for lack of a, it was a bit chaotic to put it nicely. A disembarkment was a problem. We got into port because the weather was so bad, about an hour late, then took forever to get off the ship. Luckily, my friend and I, we still got to the airport in plenty of time because we were flying out of Miami instead of Fort Lauderdale. But disembarkment, I've had better disembarkments, especially this is probably the most. This is not the worst disembarkment I ever had, but this is probably not the best one I ever had. It's definitely not the best I've had with Carnival, but I'm not gonna the disembarkment. I'm not gonna let it decide the grade I give for this cruise because that's pretty much when the cruise is over. So overall, between the staff, the overall experience, like I said, the bit of the thing with the activities, I thought there were a lack of planned activities as well as the not printing the mega deck party and the fun times. I'm gonna give this cruise an 8.5 out of 10. So thank you very much for watching this video. And thank you for watching Charlie's Cruise Tips and Reviews. I will be back soon with another video. Remember, be a cruiser.